Marcus and Dana graduated the same year, same degree, same starting salary of $52,000. Same rent, same city, same starting point. Different philosophies about money. Marcus read every frugality blog he could find. He learned to track every dollar, cut subscriptions, meal prep on Sundays, and bike to work. Dana read the same content, decided it was exhausting, and spent that energy differently. Dana focused on getting paid more, took on freelance clients on weekends, asked for a raise within the first year, and started learning skills that made her harder to replace. This is not a story about who is right. It is a story about what each strategy actually does and does not accomplish. In year one, Marcus saved more. He trimmed his spending down to about 30% of his income, putting away roughly $15,000. Dana saved less that year, closer to $8,000. She spent money on courses, software, and one professional conference she could barely afford. On paper, Marcus was ahead. Frugality was working exactly as advertised, but there is a ceiling that Frugality does not tell you about, and Marcus was already close to it. Here is the hard math. If you earn $50,000 a year, there is a maximum amount you can save. You cannot save 100% of your income. You cannot even save 70%. Most people earning $50,000 living in a mid-size American city can realistically save somewhere between $8,000 and $18,000 a year if they try hard. That range does not change much no matter how disciplined you are. Rent, food, transportation, and basic health care are not optional line items you can cut to zero. Marcus knew this. He had done the math. But he believed consistency would compound into real wealth over time, and he was not wrong. $15,000 a year invested at a 7% average return does grow. Over 10 years, that becomes roughly $207,000. That is real money. That is more than most Americans have saved at any age. The median American household between 35 and 44 has about $45,000 in retirement savings. Marcus is already on track to triple that. Meanwhile, Dana's year one looked messy. Less saved, more spent, nothing particularly impressive to show. But in year two, Dana's freelance work started to pay. She added $11,000 in outside income on top of her salary. She also negotiated her salary up to $60,000. That is a 16% raise in 12 months, which is not common, but is also not impossible with leverage. Marcus was still earning $52,000 in year two. He got a 2% cost of living raise, same as everyone else. And here is where the gap starts opening. Not because Marcus did anything wrong, because the math of frugality is addition, while the math of income growth is multiplication. Saving an extra $100 a month gets you $1,200 a year. Earning an extra $100 a month baseline gets you $1,200 a year forever, and then more next year. Dana understood this instinctively. Every dollar she added to her income floor was a dollar she would continue to earn, invest, and build on. Marcus was doing something different, but equally valid. He was minimizing downside. Frugality is genuinely good at that. In year three, Marcus lost his job for 6 weeks. His savings cushion meant he did not take a bad offer out of desperation. He waited and got something better. Dana had no such cushion. When her freelance income dipped, she had to take on projects she did not want just to cover shortfalls. This is the real trade-off nobody explains clearly. Frugality builds stability. Income growth builds wealth. They are not the same thing, and they are not competing things either. But the personal finance industry talks about them like they are the same. Spend less. That is the message. As if spending less is a path to wealth rather than just a path to not being broke. There is a difference between not being broke and being wealthy. Frugality can reliably deliver one of those. It struggles with the other. By year 5, Marcus had about $78,000 saved and invested. He was living comfortably, spending consciously, and sleeping well. Dana had about $49,000 saved. Less, but her income was now $83,000 between her salary and side work. Her savings rate was actually lower as a percentage, but the raw numbers were starting to catch up because the base was so much bigger. Let's be honest about what Marcus was giving up. He was not suffering, but he was grinding. Every spending decision was a micro negotiation with himself. Research from Purdue University suggests that the income level associated with emotional well-being peaks around 60 to 75,000 in most American cities. Beyond that, more money does not make you happier day to day. But below a certain threshold, money stress is real and constant. Marcus was above that threshold, but only barely, and frugality kept him there. Dana, meanwhile, crossed that threshold in year 4. And when money stopped being a constant source of anxiety, she made better decisions. She turned down a client who paid poorly and used the time to build something better. She invested in a certification that bumped her salary again. She could afford to wait for better. Marcus was wired to take what was available and stretch it. Neither of those is a personality flaw. They are predictable outcomes of their strategies. There is a concept called the scarcity mindset. It is not a character flaw. It is a cognitive response to constrained resources. When you are always trying to spend less, you start thinking small. You optimize for efficiency instead of opportunity. You protect what you have instead of building what you want. Marcus noticed this in year 6. He had a chance to start a small online business. The startup costs were about $2,000. He hesitated for 8 months, not because he lacked the money, because spending felt wrong at a cellular level. After 6 years of conditioning himself not to, he eventually did it. But 8 months of hesitation is 8 months of not building. Time is not a renewable resource. Dana spent freely on things that generated returns and restricted herself in things that did not. That distinction matters more than the total amount spent. She did not spend carelessly. She spent strategically. Those are not the same thing, and frugality culture often lumps them together. There is a version of frugality that cuts everything indiscriminately. No lattes, no nights out, no travel, no fun. Blanket restriction. The research on this is pretty consistent. Deprivation-based budgeting has a high failure rate, similar to crash diets. People compensate later with larger splurges. Marcus avoided this trap by being intentional. He was frugal about things he genuinely did not care about and spent on things he actually valued. But even intelligent frugality has a ceiling, and that ceiling is your income. At year 10, let's look at the numbers plainly. Marcus, $190,000 saved, still earning around $60,000 after a few modest raises. Dinah, $140,000 saved, but she is now earning $112,000 between her primary job and business income. Marcus has more saved right now, but Dana's savings trajectory is steeper, and her income floor means she can save $25,000 to $30,000 per year going forward without cutting anything. Marcus is still capped near his income ceiling. He is doing everything right inside a smaller box. Project out 20 years. Marcus, assuming consistent saving and 7% returns, reaches approximately $680,000 by retirement. Dana, assuming her income plateaus around $120,000 by year 12, and she maintains only a 20% savings rate, reaches approximately $1.1 million. That difference, roughly $420,000, is not because Dana is smarter or harder working. It is because her strategy had no ceiling. But here's the honest part. Marcus might sleep better at night. He has no debt, no income volatility, no clients, no pressure. Dana has had 3 periods of significant income stress. Once when a major client dropped her, once when the market for her skills softened, once when she burned out. Income growth strategies carry income volatility. You can earn more, but the floor can also drop. Marcus's floor never drops because his spending is his floor. This is actually the strongest argument for frugality that most frugality advocates do not even make. It is not about saving more. It is about needing less. If you need less to live, you need less to retire. $1 million supports you differently depending on whether your annual expenses are $40,000 or $80,000. Marcus has engineered a life where he could retire comfortably on less. Dana needs more, earns more, but her lifestyle has expanded with her income. This is lifestyle inflation, and it is the saboteur of every high earner who never builds the discipline that Marcus built. Dana is aware of this, but awareness and behavior are different things when your income keeps going up and good options keep presenting themselves. So who wins? After 20 years, Dana has more money, but Marcus has more financial freedom relative to what he needs. Dana has more nominal wealth. Marcus is closer to the finish line relative to his needs. That distinction is not a technicality. It is the whole game. The honest verdict is that frugality alone will not make you wealthy. But frugality combined with growing income is probably the most reliable path that exists. The mistake is treating frugality as a complete strategy. It is a foundation. You still need to build something on it. And the mistake Dana almost made, and that many high earners do make, is treating income growth as a complete strategy. You still need to keep some of it. The personal finance industry sells frugality because it is easy to teach and easy to measure. Track your spending. Cut the subscriptions. Pack your lunch. Income growth is harder to sell because it requires skills, risk, persistence, and a willingness to spend money to earn more. That is a harder product pitch, but the math does not lie. You cannot cut your way to wealth on a median income. You can cut your way to stability, which is not nothing. Stability is actually underrated. Most financial catastrophe is not about people who do not earn enough. It is about people who never built a floor. Marcus built a floor. Dana built a ceiling. The question is not which matters more. The question is which one you are missing. If you are pinching every penny but not actively trying to earn more, frugality is your whole strategy. And that is the version of frugality that does not make you wealthy. If you are earning more every year, but spending every raise before it reaches your investment account, income is your whole strategy, and that version does not make you wealthy either. Marcus and Dana both ended up fine, better than most, but they both knew 10 years in that the other had something they lacked. The version that works is both. Spend less than you earn and earn more than you need. One without the other is just half a plan.